All right, guys, today we are gonna be reacting to Kamala Harris' first solo network interview as 2024 candidate. Oh, this is gonna be a doozy. Let's jump in.
Madam Vice President, you just laid out your economic vision for the future.
Yeah.
But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic. But not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, you know, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right? I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead. And I come from the middle class. Look, my mother raised my sister and me. She worked hard.
Already?
She saved up. But
Already? We throwing the script already? Okay.
by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home. And, you know, home ownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. You know, gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dream. So part of my vision for the economy is let's deal with some of the everyday challenges that people face and address them with common sense solutions, such as affordable housing.
What?
Over the last 4 years, there have been tremendous economic wins, and you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression when you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high.
Wow. The interviewer calling her out? No way. No way. That was...
Because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime, an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan.
Why is she saying Goldman Sachs when Goldman Sachs came out and said that they don't agree with her economic plan? This is crazy, man. You can tell a lot of these talking points are, you know, scripts. And there's nothing wrong with just being scripted, right? But you have to internalize the message. She haven't even internalized the message. I don't even know why she's running. She's running. This looks weak, very weak so far. This is MSNBC.
Plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So the facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people And I'm not mad at anybody for being rich, but they should pay their fair share.
Okay,
But
here we go.
tax cuts for the billionaires and the top corporations in our country, and then not really paying much attention to middle-class families. My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
Then let me ask you about taxes, because lots of people will say, I don't like Donald Trump, but he cut my taxes. He didn't just cut corporate taxes, he cut individual taxes. Now that expires.
And that's what happened. That's what the Democrats never mention. They always say, no, he only cut taxes for the rich. No, he cut taxes for everybody. You cut taxes and you create confidence in the economy because you have more money to spend. I mean, look, folks. You're not telling me if you live in California and New York that these people are not taxing you to your neck already. How much taxes do they need? On top of that, we're just sending money away. It's like, how much taxes do you want to be getting? Remember, people don't really understand the story, the history of the United States. We left Britain because of taxes. We fought a war besides slavery because of taxes. These people are taxing everybody to almost 40 or 45% at this point.
Next year, and there's some people confused saying, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Under a Harris administration, at what income level should someone expect their taxes to go up? And that state and local tax deduction that's currently capped and matters to a lot of people in blue states, are you going to lift that cap?
So, first of all, when it relates to anybody making less than $400,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up. And in fact, under my plan, taxes for 100 million Americans will actually be cut, including $6,000 a year for young couples for the first year of their child's life in a tax cut, a tax credit, essentially, by expansion of the child tax credit. And why is that? Because during the first year of a young couple, of a person's child's life, they're going to need help buying a crib, buying a car seat. And we all benefit when they're actually able to do what they naturally want to do to take care of their child.
And expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go?
Good question. Where's the money coming from? Because these people keep printing. Where's the money coming from?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share, and it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
There we go. That's the problem. You start taxing these people. They just basically just grab their stuff and just go out of the United States. You're gonna force them to stay? You're gonna put a gun in their head and just force them to stay? How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that? Man, people don't understand. People don't understand economics, man. If you force billionaires to pay more taxes, they just take their stuff and just put it in another country. Dumbasses.
Listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits. Part of my plan for the economy is investing in new industries in a way that we have active partnership with the private sector. I've worked with the private sector my entire career. I even as vice president, working with some of the biggest banks and biggest tech companies to increase by billions of dollars the money going into community banks to increase access to capital for small businesses. Why do those biggest corporations and CEOs do that? Because they know those kinds of investments, like in our small businesses, in startups and entrepreneurs, actually strengthens America's economy overall, and everyone benefits. So this is not about bilking anybody, but it is certainly about saying, let's make sure that we create opportunities for everyone to grow wealth. I believe that it is not
Grow wealth by taxing people. That's the most stupid concept when it comes down to growth. You're gonna grow, yeah, the taxes, the prices, inflation going up. I mean, the things are so expensive right now. It's crazy, man. Crazy. I remember it 4 years ago, even before COVID hit. How cheap things were, man. It's crazy.
Not sufficient, and it should not be our goal to just make sure everyone is working. That should be the baseline. That should be a given. And let's create an economy where people have the ability to buy a home, to start a business, to take a nice vacation from time to time, right?
For people who want to buy a home, yes, getting a $25,000 kicker would be great. But it's not just affording a home. We don't have enough in this country.
You're absolutely right.
And one of the main problems are regulations and rules, strict rules at a local level. How does the federal government cut through all that red tape and get down to, I don't know, the suburbs of Pittsburgh and say, we're going to have to build some affordable housing here? How do you connect the two?
So you're absolutely right. So across our country, people rightly are concerned about the cost of housing. So it's home ownership, to your point. We need more supply. That is, without any question, part of the solution. Creating more supply under my plan includes creating tax incentives to work with the private sector and home builders. Part of my goal and the plan would be to create 3 million new housing units for rent and for ownership by the end of my first term. It includes also what we must do to cut red tape.
For all the stuff that she's saying, she can literally do it right now. She can literally do it right now. Even Biden just admitted. She just gave it domestic and foreign policies. She's the one handling all that. So she can literally go to Biden and tell, hey, Biden, do this, do that, cut the taxes. You know, he can do so much right now. If she wanted to win in a landslide, she would just say, cut the taxes, do this, do that. And people will see it. She's not doing it because she's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. She don't have a pattern of doing these stuff, folks. She don't have a pattern. You cannot fall for something like this if there's no real pattern to really follow. I mean,
absolutely right. It takes far too long, and there's too much.
And by the way, the interview is only 24 minutes.
Bureaucracy associated with home building, and I say that as a devout public servant. I know that we have to reduce the red tape and speed up what we need to do around building, and that is going to require working from the federal level with state and local governments.
But how do you do it? You start rambling. How do you do this? You don't have to go too much in detail, but how? How? What's the main source of just making sure that these things are cheap? And it's easy. It's easy. It's energy. It's oil. Right? We have to start there to just make sure that a lot of these stuff which create energy is derived by energy goes down. She's not even mentioning fracking at all. Interesting.
And it's going to be different in different places, depending on the needs of that community, the needs of that local government, that municipality, but working in consultation and coordination and also around incentives that we can create. For example, some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits and assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars, and looking holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing for working people.
Then let me ask you a business that matters a lot to this town.
Yeah.
U.S. Steel.
Yes.
Right? When you think Pennsylvania, when you think Pittsburgh, you got the Liberty Bell in Philly, and you got U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
A Japanese company wants to buy them. You are opposed to this idea. Many people are. But if the deal doesn't go through, they have said people could lose jobs, they could close mills, they could leave the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, that is like moving the Liberty Bell to Newark. So which is more important?
It's most important that we maintain America's ability to have American manufacturing of steel by American workers for a number of reasons, which includes, again, back to the point of growing our economy and how I think about the economy overall, investing in new industries. There is not a new industry that I can imagine that is not going to require steel as a manufacturing of steel as a fundamental part of what it accomplishes. And having American workers in an American company manufacturing that steel for
she's having a very, very hard trouble trying to go through these questions. I cannot believe it, man. She's not saying anything. She's just rambling enough. But the thing is, the interviewer, of course, is an experienced interviewer, so she can just go back to the question, say, well, can you please answer the question, kind of thing. The rambling just gets you tired too, because you're not getting to anything.
Those new industries is going to be critically important, not only in terms of our economy, but also in the context of national security. Most people now realize if we didn't, before the pandemic, and the strain on supply chains and an over-reliance on foreign manufacturing, that we have to be intentional about U.S.-based manufacturing. And of the products that we have to prioritize, steel is one of them. And that's always going to be my priority.
Steel workers matter in this country. Unions matter.
Yes.
In 2016, Donald Trump connected with unions. He saw them. There was an emotional connection. But what he didn't do was deliver policy. In the last 4 years, we have seen huge wins in this country for unions. But not all unions have gotten behind you. I want to understand, when the Teamsters decided not to...
You see how she's just paraphrasing the question to just already make her look good? We have seen a lot of improvement in the union. Well, why the hell the unions are not going with her? The only union I've seen so far that just like her is the IRS. And I didn't even know that they have any union. The IRS. And there was another one. I don't remember the name of it. Like... Why we even helping these kind of candidates, especially Kamala Harris, that need to be out there trying to put her message out? But that you can see a lot of these interviews, they try to help her a little bit. But hey, Kamala, I'm just giving you a little bit here. Can you make sure, like it's ridiculous, folks.
Endorse you. What was their reasoning? What are they looking for?
Well, let me go back to our just previous conversation. I'm very proud to have the endorsement of the steelworkers and almost every other major union in America, because I stand by workers and I stand by the importance of being able to join a union and to understand the benefit and the value of unions. And I understand the importance of investing in new industries and working actively with the private sector to grow our economy.
But I'm asking because there's this idea we want something more from her. What is it?
Well, here's the thing, that back to your point about...
Her, okay? She's helping her. She's saying, like, give me more names, be more specific. She's helping her. You can tell. She can help her.
Previous election cycles. Donald Trump made a whole lot of promises.
There you go with Donald Trump.
That he did not meet, and one would argue broke. Look at Lordstown. He said he was going to...
Don't sell your homes.
Yeah, don't sell your homes. And what happened? It shut down. Outsourcing under Donald Trump. His policies that are about putting, tens to hundreds of % tariffs.
John Deere.
Yes. Yes. So...
if their tariffs are so good, it's so bad, why you still have them? Why you're a minister, you still have them? You can just go... I mean, oh my goodness. Why you still have them? If the tariffs are so bad, why the government still have them?
Part of the challenge, and I don't disagree that it's a challenge, got to earn the vote of everybody, is reminding people of fact, regardless of what somebody says in a small rally somewhere. And I think that's really important. And that's part of what I'm doing in this campaign, is to remind people, just like here in Pittsburgh, of the reality of who has stood with union labor, who stands for American manufacturing, who stands for American jobs.
Can I ask you about tariffs? Because you just mentioned it. It's not just with one company. Donald Trump's sort of big idea is this broad-based tariffs across the board. You and many others have said that would be not only disastrous, but it would be a direct tax on the American
It
consumer.
would be a sales tax on the American people. The independent economists have already measured this by the sales tax of doing a 20% tariffs on all imports that he has described would be a 20% sales tax, in essence, on basic necessities for the average American worker, average American family, totaling almost $4,000 a year. That is no small matter. Here in Pittsburgh, when I'm talking to a group of folks who work here, who live here, and when they hear it might be $4,000 more a year for them, look, people can't afford that.
But tariffs aren't unique to President Trump. President Biden has tariffs.
There we go. I told you. 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 I'm glad that she even brought it up. I'm very surprised that usually this doesn't happen. When it comes down to Democratic nominee, this does not happen at all.
Tariffs in place. He's actually looking to potentially implement more.
Yeah.
Where do you come out on it?
Because the thing is, listen. Even Biden is doing it right now. I'm not against it because we have to start building our own stuff here in the United States. Biden is doing it. I'm okay with that because we still have to do it in the United States. Folks, you go to Walmart and the majority of things that they're selling you, where are they made? China. Walmart, Target, the same thing. China. And we owe a lot of money. They're just ripping us. They're ripping us off, man. They're buying our land. Like, it's time to put tariffs on these people. We might take a hit now, but then later on, when the economy is stronger, then we can start building our own stuff. It just put things to perspective. But I'm not even against Biden just using tariff.
Is there a good tariff, a bad tariff?
Well, part of it is you don't just throw around the idea of just tariffs across the board, and that's part of the problem with Donald Trump.
Nobody's saying.
Frankly, I'm going to, and I say this in all sincerity, he's just not very serious about how he thinks about some of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And one must be serious.
Really?
And have a plan, and a real plan that's not just about some talking point ending in an exclamation at a political rally, but actually putting the thought into what will be the return on the investment, what will be the economic impact on everyday people. And when you look at my plans, you will see what those benefits will be. $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. You know what that?
That's the worst. Man, if you want to give me $5,000, I'm okay with it. But that means it's $25,000 increase in the property value. So it's going to cost you another $25,000. Because the more you print money, the more the values of the houses increases, folks. That's how property works. That's how a lot of people, they make money. When they start printing money, the value of their property goes through the roof. It's because of this. She will give you $25,000. Where do you think you're going to see the price of that $25,000 in your property? And good luck buying it.
That means then you're creating the ability of that working person to build intergenerational wealth. Doing the work of a $6,000 child tax credit, doing the work of a $50,000 tax deduction for first-time small businesses, startups, because right now...
That's a real plan.
It's a real plan, because right now, and again, it's about paying attention to the detail and being serious about it. I'm serious about my enthusiasm and my for small business.
We can tell, Kamala, we can tell.
And my belief in what they will do as part of America's economic engine.
On Friday, sorry.
No, so looking at the fact that right now the tax deduction is $5,000, nobody in this year of our Lord 2024 can start a small business with $5,000. Very few can. So extending it to $50,000 tax deduction for startups to generate the innovation and the ambition of the ideas that are present and among us, but need the fuel to be able to actually achieve the goal.
What the hell she just...
This plan is not serious when you lay it out like that, but a serious problem over the last few years has been inflation. Luckily, it's cooling, but prices are still high.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You've said you want to take this on by going after those who engage in price gouging.
Yeah.
But as somebody who supports free markets, who's a capitalist, how do you go after price gouging without implementing price controls? Because once we get in this zone, people start to get worried and they say, I don't know what she stands for.
So just to be very frank, I am never going to apologize for going after companies and corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. And as Attorney General, I saw this happen. In the midst of an emergency, whether it be an extreme weather event or even the pandemic, we saw it, where those few companies, not the majority, not most, but those few companies that would take advantage of the desperation of people and jack up prices. Yeah, I'm going to go after them. Yes, I'm going to go after them. And that is part.
Oh, there's a saying that goes that ignorance is brave. Price gouging. Folks, a lot of these companies, a lot of these stores, they don't make money. They don't make a lot of money. They don't make a lot of money. And the interviewer is literally trying to save her. Like a proud capitalist, you're saying to her. Like Kamala Harris, and just throwing the softball to you. I'm throwing the softball to you. And you just do this. Price gouging is not a good idea, folks. A lot of businesses are going to go out of the window because profit margin is what keeps this industry alive. A lot of these companies, they don't have a big profit margin because a lot of it goes into expenses. And she just want to do price gouging.
Part of a much more comprehensive plan on what we can do to bring down the cost of living, including housing, crazy, including the everyday needs of the American people.
On Friday, you are going to the border. Immigration is complicated. One of the issues is an economic one. And no one is eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio, and I'm glad not to be talking about that. But there are people there that are stressed, that feel that they're at capacity.
You see what she's doing? You see what she's doing? She's prepping her. She's prepping her by eliminating some of the talking points. She's not even allowing her to just to give an explanation. And if they're not eating cats and dogs, go to Springfield, Ohio. Go there. Go show to the world that Trump is wrong. Or worst, go down there and speak with your constituents. Go there.
Communities around the country that have legal immigration, many have said we're at capacity. And many feel like the government has said to them, well, adapt, sit down, be quiet. This is how it is. What would a Harris administration do for those communities who've taken in many, many legal immigrants but are at capacity?
Well, first of all, we do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And if we take a step back, months ago, some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress came together with others, proposed a border security bill that would have put 1,500 new border agents on the border to help those hardworking border agents who are there right now working around the clock. Would have put more money into stemming the flow of fentanyl, which is killing Americans around our country and devastating communities. Would have put more resources into our ability to prosecute transnational criminal organizations, which in my career I've prosecuted. Donald Trump got word of the bill, realized it was going to fix a problem he wanted to run on.
Oh, he's not in Congress. God damn. He's not in the administration. Man, these people are so weak, man. So weak.
And told them to kill the bill, don't put it up for a vote. He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
No, because the bill would just allow still 5,000 illegal immigrants to cross the border. And who the hell is going to just say, okay, 5,000 already came, that's it. Nobody. So he's allowing 5,000 illegal immigrants crossing the border. And who's going to keep track of that? Do the math, folks. 5,000 illegal immigrants a day, supposedly the minimum, because you cannot track them. Multiply that by 30. Right? It's 150,000. Do that for 3 years. You see what I'm saying? Now the math makes sense. In 30 years, the demographic of the United States will be destroyed. This lady's just a liar, man. These Democrats are liars, man. The bill was not a bill. Then it would just give path to citizenship to a lot of illegal immigrants. And on top of that, it would just give aid to Israel and Ukraine. So they were throwing a lot of stuff at once. No, man. And because thank God for the internet, because they actually, indeed, put the bill on the internet and we read it. So.
And that's part of what needs to be addressed. And my pledge is that when elected president, if the American people will have me, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. And we need a comprehensive plan that includes what we need to do to fortify not only our border, but deal with the fact that we also need to create pathways for people to earn citizenship.
There we go. Illegal immigration. Why having a country? Why having a country, man? Think about it, folks. Why having a country when people are already breaking the law, coming here illegally? And you can tell the wages are not going that up because there's people that are being paid under the table. People wages are not going up because there's a huge influx migration, folks. So that means people cannot pay regular Americans. They have to just pay for cheap labor. It's just they all do this all backwards, man.
Then I want to just ask you about a little job and a big job.
Okay.
The first one, just a fact check.
Okay.
Because your opponent
There is
almost
no little
every
job.
day. Okay.
There's no such thing as a little job.
Okay, fair. Because your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working at a McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job.
But it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes,
okay, for a
but
small
I did.
period of time. But then let me
Yeah, it was not a small job because she did the fries. So disrespectful, but it is what it is.
ask about a big job.
But to your point, if you don't mind, before you
Please.
get to the big job, there's a part of the reason I even talk about having worked at McDonald's is because there are people who work at McDonald's in our country who are trying to raise a family. I worked there as a student. I was a kid who worked there trying to raise families and pay rent on that. And I think part of the difference between me and my opponent includes our perspective on the needs of the American people and what our responsibility then is to meet those needs.
Then to the big job. You have laid out policy in great detail.
Yeah.
But the economy is an unpredictable beast. And you are running for a job that takes extraordinary instinct and guts.
Yeah.
What's the last time you had to make a gut decision? This here is very prescribed, it's very controlled.
Yeah. Probably the biggest gut decision I've made most recently is to choose my running mate. Yeah. They were
So disappointing. No follow up for the McDonald thing. She just simply asked her, no pay stuff. Would you be, would you promise us to just show you some evidence that way you can shut Donald Trump? You know how easy it would be to shut up Donald Trump? Just show me evidence. Show me your shirt. Show me something that you will use to work for McDonald's. Folks, she was located in Canada. And when she went to California, she was part of the elites early on. No follow-up, no nothing. What an embarrassment. And you can tell that she's a supporter. This little interview right here, supporter. I'm tired. The interview is only 3 minutes left. I'm not going to keep you hearing her. Man, that's bad, man. Look at her uncomfortable leaning. Look at how the interviewer is leaning back. And she's leaning all the way front and nervous. Look at her hands. Always looking to the side, not paying attention. She's trying to help her, but you can tell that she's not answering the question. By the way, before I actually, wanted to react to the interview, I saw her just giving her feedback after the interview that she didn't like it because she was not answering questions, which she didn't do. Filibustering, going random rants is not answering the question because people still doubt you. You're not concrete, and you don't have to go concrete to just, read a 50 pages plan, but at least give us a little bit of hint of what the hell you're gonna do. You're so superficial that you're saying that you're gonna throw money here, throw money there, and somehow all this is gonna disappear. And just instead of dealing with the illegal immigration, you wanna just put them on in a path of citizenship. How? They're illegals. They are illegals. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next one.